Shrek mech. Shrek mech. Shrek mech. Not gonna lie, at the time I'm making this, I'm still really tired from spending 6,000 years on the Kaiju Slayer episode that went out on Friday, so I'm a little bit delirious, and my delirious brain has locked onto this idea of doing Shrek as an Iron Man style armor robot mech suit thing. So I guess that's just what we're gonna go with today. Famous animated movie characters if they were mech armor suit things. Let's see how this goes. I've got some good ideas for the lore and story kind of thing. Or at least I think they're good ideas. Maybe I'm just really tired and they're terrible ideas. Let's find out. Let's go. Hit like if you want. Subscribe if you feel like. But either way, enjoy the show. World I live in's a pretty messed up one. Superpowered people are a dime a dozen and a lot of them ain't so friendly. I mean, first of all, you got some pretty sick supervillains running around, but even a lot of the heroes are pretty terrible. You get caught jaywalking in the wrong city and you could have someone like Regenazard or the Endo Hound Gang cutting your flippin' head off. But all this just means real good business for me. Not to toot my own horn, but, you know, here I go. I'm probably the best mech armor designer this side of anywhere. If you're a regular person in need of some kind of protection, you come to me with enough money and I'll make you a suit to take any hero or villain out there to Pound Town. In a fighting way, not in a... you know what I mean. Anyway, let me walk you through some of my latest builds from different clients. Starting out with one of the funniest cases I got. So this lady, Talia Gresher, comes to me and she says there's this crazy villain running around near her in Chinatown, wreaking havoc on everybody in his own leopard mech suit kind of thing. She's good at kung fu and stuff, but that's no good against the dude in armor, so she and her friends need some kind of armor to fight him off. And of course, I oblige. For the right price. She don't have any crazy money or anything, but enough to build a basic defense armor. Just enough to keep her protected and up the impact of her hits a little bit. She still wants to rely mostly on punching and kicking and stuff, so no lasers or rockets or nothing like that. So long as she can move smoothly, she's happy. She also wants it to look a little bit Tiger-like. I guess to be some kind of opposing number to the leopard guy. I build it for her, make it look all slick and cool, and she goes off fighting. Pretty normal case, right? Not quite, no way. See, this guy that she's fighting, the dude in the leopard mech armor, I built his suit too. She don't even know. Now those two clowns are going to be beating the snot out of each other and both having to come back to me for repairs. I'm going to be milking them for all their dough for the next months if I'm lucky. And more people are coming from that area too. This decrepit old dude with a hunch came to me offering to pay good money for some chunky panda armor for this other guy in the area. I tell you, the number of clients I'm getting from this Chinatown debacle could set me up for life on its own. But still, I gotta tell you about some of the other stuff I've been building, cause it does get better from here. Now full disclosure, I am recording this bit the day that the video comes out. I waited a few days because I realized I was so tired on Friday when I recorded that intro and outro that I should make sure to make this part a little bit better and cleaner. I also decided since the art in this episode is a little bit lackluster compared to some of the other stuff I've been making lately, that I should make the narrator a more interesting and energetic kind of character to compensate. And honestly, I'm having more fun recording his voice than I have most other characters I've done in a little while. I mean, I really like doing the voice of Heath because he's really deep and booming and very energetic and excitable. And I really like doing Charlie because his voice is really fast and quick. But this character is really fun too, and I kind of like doing voices for people that are a bit terrible, which this guy definitely is a little bit. Anyway, I went with Tigress from Kung Fu Panda for this first one, because first of all, I wanted at least one female character in this episode. Second, because I just really like the color scheme and design for tigers in general, they're one of my favorite animals. And third, because I could have gone with Poe, but I already have another pretty chunky, rotund kind of armor coming up for Shrek, and I wanted to keep the variety up a little bit. So, Tigress mech armor kind of thing. Here's the result. Alright, now the next one is pretty cheap and ratty looking, but given what I had to work with, I am kind of proud of it. This guy from out of town named Shrug Myers needed a suit to scare off this real estate developer that wanted to plow all the area around his little swamp home to build some kind of mega cheap houses to rent off to people who can't afford to live in the city no more. Shrug ain't happy about this cause he don't like people so much. He lives in a swamp specifically cause he don't want nobody around. Of course, he also don't have much money. I mean, he lives in a flippin' swamp for crying out loud. So, with what he's got, I tell him I can use my cheapest material to build some basic durability and strength armor. But it's gonna be chunky and a bit slow. He says, whatever, just get it done. So I get down to work. Now the metal I can use for something like this is about 1,000 times weaker than the titanium or vimantium that I'd use for my PopCross customers. So what I do is I just layer on the cheap stuff. I give this thing so many layers of metal that you'd have to hit it with a bulldozer for him to even feel it. Speaking of which, I made it look a bit like a bulldozer too. I leaned into the scrappy look and made the thing seem like something that would be defending a flippin' swamp. It's steam powered and shoots exhaust out of its ears and its shoulders and even its butt. The thing is pretty foul to smell too. It shoots out so much gas and smog that alone could be enough to turn the developer away from the area, which the guy seemed pretty into. I also had to make the belly stick out a bunch. See, the guy ain't my skinniest client ever, so I needed to make room for that big old belly. But all in all, I got it done and I ain't heard from the guy since. So either it got the job done, or he got himself enough trouble with the real estate dude that guy iced him. Don't really know what happened, but hey, either way, I got paid. Now with this one, as I mentioned in the lore or whatever you want to call that, I took some inspiration from bulldozers and kinda, machinery that you'd see on some kind of work site. And also from the Iron Man Mark I, that first suit that Iron Man builds when, he's in the caves and it's a more ratty kind of suit. This one definitely looks the least Iron Man-like, even though at the beginning of this video I referenced wanting to make some kind of Shrek Iron Man suit kind of thing. But I think this design fits what Shrek is more so than a more sleek armor kind of would. I wish I could have spent a little bit more time on this one and put a bit more detail into the legs and stuff like that, but besides that, I'm generally pretty happy with it. It gives off the vibe that I was trying to get. In terms of the color scheme, I did add a little bit more green, because I realized from the reference image that I was using of Shrek that a lot of him is covered in clothes, but I feel like green is such an important part of Shrek that I wanted to up the amount of it on the design. I change his belly to green, and I make his lower legs green, and I think that ended up working a lot better. I don't totally love the brown metal parts, besides the parts where I make it look a little bit rusted and dirty, but the parts on his chest and thighs, I don't know, something about brown metal is just kinda weird to me. But besides that, I'm generally pretty happy with this one, and I hope you all like it too. Here's the result. Now this next one was a real beaut. It was sleek and clean and stealthy. Mwah. See, this kid comes to me from this weird island town that I ain't never heard of, saying that his people really hate superpowered things. Anytime a hero or villain comes anywhere near the town, they all gather up to fight him off. Personally, I say good on him. But this kid says he's met some heroes who ain't so bad, and he wants to show his old man that some heroes could maybe help him out. I think it's a garbage idea, but keep my mouth shut because this kid comes to me with a sack full of gold. Like, real solid gold coins. I don't know what this weird town is, but I guess they use different kind of currency from normal folks or something. Either way, with the amount he gives me, I'm making him my slickest armor ever. He says he wants the works. He wants it to fly and have a flaming sword and shoot blue fire lasers. I tell you, kids have way better ideas of what makes cool armor than most boring old adults do. He also said he wants the thing to look a little bit friendly, cause he wants people in his town to trust him or whatever. So I give the thing some big old green eyes and pepper some other green lights throughout the suit too. And I give it some green plasma wings. I also had to do things a little bit differently with one of the legs, cause see, this kid was missing a leg, below the knee. I made it look like a regular foot on the outside, but then he ended up painting that part red. Guess he wanted it to stand out a bit? I don't really get it, but I don't care, he can do what he wants. Anyway, after that, I put a little bit more red around it so that melded in with the design a bit better, but for the most part, the thing was black and gray. The last thing I added was honestly just cause I wanted to see if I could do it, and the kid had paid really good money anyway, so why not? Tried putting in a cloaking mechanic. This was tricky to figure out, but works like a dream now. The kid activates a burst of flame that shoots all around the suit, and just as he does that, the thing projects imaging at 300 frames per second from all around him onto the suit to make it basically fully invisible. If you're a few feet away, you may be able to tell something's up. What do you want from me? It's my first time doing a cloaking suit. Wasn't gonna be perfect. Anyway, the kid loved it and flew off back to his weird island home, saying he hoped that some of his friends might come back for suits next, if everything goes well. And I tell you, I hope they do. If they all pay as well as that kid, I'd be happy making armors for that island for the rest of my life. Now I feel like this armor kind of emphasizes the few things that I don't love about this episode, and that's just that I wish I'd had an extra half hour with this design. That's kind of how I feel about most of the armors in this episode, but I feel like this one is so close to being great and is just not quite there. First of all, the pose is a little bit bland, and my other main problem is just the blue fire that I put in doesn't fully work, I don't think. I feel like I kind of had to put it in there because blue fire is kind of an iconic part of Toothless, but with the red and green on the rest of the suit, it just doesn't fully work. It feels like it clashes a little bit. I think green flame would have worked a lot better, but you know, then I probably would have gotten people telling me, hey, Toothless doesn't shoot green fire, which, you know, fair enough, he doesn't. So I don't know, generally I do like the basics of this one. I mean, I feel like from doing this channel long enough now and designing so many pop culture suit kinds of things, that even when I'm rushing, I make stuff that I'm generally pretty happy with now. But still, like I said, I feel like this one could have been great if I just had another half hour with it or so. So definitely hoping to do another episode like this in the future where I can actually take my time with it. But anyway, regardless of how I feel, I hope you all really like this one. Let's take a look at the finished result of our Toothless mech. Well, this certainly was an episode, wasn't it? To be honest, this actually did turn out better than I thought it would for how tired I was while making it and how little time I had to make it. But if you want a better, more fleshed out episode, you can watch literally any other episode I've made in the last 3 weeks. Maybe the SCP superhero videos that I referenced in this video, or the Kaiju Slayer, which turned out really, really great, if I do say so myself, and all the time I spent on it is the reason this episode's a little bit more hacked together. But I would like to actually do this concept again when I'm not exhausted, so give me more ideas for famous cartoon characters or other things you'd like to see turned into mech armor kinds of things. Maybe next time I'll make them a bit bigger, like Gundam mech sort of armors or something. I don't know, give me mech ideas in the comments. But besides that, that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson, this has been PopCross Studios, home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday after I've gotten a lot more sleep. Goodbye.